back to the Naked and Truth podcast. It is your host, Sari D, and this morning I ended up having a poor baby bird hit our glass door. That was how my morning started today, which was obviously not anticipated whatsoever. Poor little guy's out there hobbling along. I thought that he couldn't fly. He went and tucked himself underneath a chair, but I was like, this guy is way too cute. He's way too little. There's crows that are always flying through and just fucking everybody's shit up. So I'm like, he's either going to get eaten by a bigger bird, he is going to get eaten by one of my dogs, or the poor guy is going to die from heat exhaustion because it was supposed to be a 30 degrees Celsius day today. Unfortunately, we are hitting a very vicious fire season and the weather just completely changed within an hour. It's now so windy, so smoky. It's gross. It's kind of cold out there now. You can tell that the sun is shining where the smoke isn't coming through and completely taking over. But I didn't want him to be on the deck if it was going to be a 30-degree day because it can get so hot with that siding that it's like 40 degrees on the deck, you know? So I, though, have run into a situation like this before where you go and you grab the box and you grab the gloves and all of a sudden the animal that you're going to rescue is good and gone. So before I actually went and got the box, went and got the gloves, you know, now that you're in your 30s, you have life experience, you can think ahead. And I was like, I'm going to go move the chair, see if he flies away or what happens, or if he'll even allow me to get close to him before I go to all that effort. By the time I stepped outside, he was already gone. So I was like, okay, number one, great. I'm super glad that he can move and he's not going to potentially get eaten by something else. But number two, I'm really glad that I didn't go to all that effort of grabbing that shit and then going outside and him being gone. I want you guys to take this as a valuable lesson because thinking ahead is one of the most underrated skills that we have the potential of owning. With technology, it's so easy for us to get so dependent on getting help from technology that we stop our critical thinking. We stop our self-awareness thinking. And these are skill sets that will continue to serve you no matter how big tech gets. So I encourage you, you know, when you're going into any situation, try to think ahead. What are the potentials that could happen? Now, it was also one of those weeks where it seems like something happened every single morning, right? Nothing that I anticipated, but shit I had to deal with. And I know you guys are going to understand that. But one of the biggest things that we can also do in those situations is recognize that things are going to happen out of our control, whether we are like the most pre-scheduled, pre-planned person in the entire world. There will always be things that we're not expecting that are gonna pop into our schedule. So instead of allowing it to get our panties in a bunch, getting ourselves into a tiff, we can actually take that mindset of let it go, right? Not allowing ourselves to be so wound up from stress, from feeling limited for time, that we are allowing the potential of the entire day to get ruined from one thing happening, right? And like I said, sometimes it's going to happen day after day where you just have those weeks where shit happens every morning or whatever that looks like for you. But that doesn't mean that your day has to stay stuck there. And as a personal trainer, you know, being able to talk to my clients online has been so valuable in allowing me to see commonalities and themes that are going on. And it is without a doubt that there's just sometimes coincidences that, you know, people are going through similar things. But one thing that is a constant across the board lately is people feeling stressed. And I get that more than anybody, okay? I really do. Between, you know, trying to do regular adulting things like cleaning the house and the laundry and all those to-do lists that never end, to simply taking care of yourself, right? Making sure that you're eating well, that you're going to bed, you're not just Netflix and chilling all the time. Making sure that you're making decisions that are allowing you to move forward in your life, but also in your relationships with other people. Then you got all the politics and all the external world shit that's going on that can feel so heavy and overwhelming. So if you are feeling like stress has been extremely high lately, that you feel like you're getting caught in that pattern of things just keep happening, there's no way I'm going to be able to catch up, each day is feeling ruined, I want to encourage you to slow down. Okay? The truth is that if you are feeling super stressed, the best thing that you can do is take action, and taking action in the right way. Because a lot of the time, there's only two stress responses, right? There's fight or flight. And so that means that if stress gets really high, you're either going to be responding by overdoing things because you are trying to just be in a position where you don't even have to think about anything, or you're going to be in a position where you shut down and you just want to shut everything out. Neither of those spectrums are great for us. But with the way that our human physiology is designed, we were never meant to go this fast. We were never meant to have this many conversations. We were never meant to have this many stressors for our body to be able to deal with, our body and our mind, right? Because I've talked about this prior on the podcast, but our body does not know the difference between an email stressing us out or a bear chasing after us. When we look back over the evolution of the human itself, our physiology and how our body is built, how it functions has not changed. It has not changed at all. What has changed though is our environments. So even though we are living in a faster world, we are living in a world where tech helps us a lot, we are, because we're going faster, because we're getting more help, we are running into more situations where we're stressed. That doesn't mean that our body knows why we're being stressed. It just knows how to respond to that stress. And sometimes the best advice that we can take is going back to our roots. And in that evolution, way back when, there was 4 main areas that we really had to focus on: food, fire or warmth, shelter, and water, right? Those were the main things that we needed to make sure that we were focused on. Not that you need to get your kid to soccer practice at an unrealistic time from you to be able to get off work, get food into them, and make it to the soccer practice. That, your PA meeting is running over the same time that you have work. That you don't have time to go and grab groceries, that. Like the list just goes on and on and on. And the reason why we are in that position is because we are not allowing ourselves to have scheduled downtime in our schedules. Being able to slow down and be more present is the best thing that we can do in a world that is constantly evolving to be faster. It acts like it is a world that provides convenience for us, but is it really conveniencing us when all we're doing is slamming our schedules to a point where we feel like we are in this constant rat chase of the same shit all the time without feeling like we are able to truly live a valued life, right? Those conveniences don't help us if we just keep shoveling more shit into our schedules. So there's a couple of different areas that I want to talk about today, of areas that I encourage you to slow down in. Now, one of the first ones that I want to talk to you about is slowing down in the way you speak, but also slowing down to listen more, okay? The person who is going to be the best educated is the person who listens, not the person who chooses to always speak. I think it's really important, especially if you have kids, you're in a partnership, anytime you're with your friends, your family, there is nothing that makes the person feel more valued than them being heard. So being able to actually be present in the conversations that you're having. I want to give a good example of the fact that the to-do list is always going to be there. I know how overwhelming it feels when things just feel stacked. As a business owner, there's always something else that I can be doing on my to-do list. But I also know that just working my life away isn't going to allow me to build the value that I'm looking for. So, for example, let's just say you have kids that come home from school and you're trying to quickly do the dishes. You're trying to get the dishes done. They're trying to tell you about their day. You're not fully present, right? You're thinking about the other things that you need to do while you're doing the dishes, while you're half-assed listening to their stories. What we could be doing instead is doing the dishwasher together, where you're still getting that task done, but being present in the conversation. Or in a crazy wild world, stop doing the dishes. Listen to what they're saying for 10 minutes. We're seeing so many kids feeling isolated and alone, and it is not the parents' fault that the world has been designed this way, where they feel like they literally have no more time, right? They feel like they just need to keep jumping from the next task to the next task. But as your kid continues to grow, they're not going to grow from you always getting the dishwasher done. They're going to grow from feeling valued, heard, loved, getting good advice because you're actually listening to what they need in that moment, and sometimes taking that 10 minutes to allow that person, whether it's your child, whether it's your partner, whether it's your family, to be heard is enough for them to get what they need without you necessarily losing a whole bunch of time after that. But when you're in that constant go, 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 go mindset, somebody just trying to stop you to have a conversation can feel like a severe inconvenience. And I know some of you listening are really getting hit in the feels right now, because it is just something we've been programmed to do. With technology, we've never been more connected, but yet we've never been lost more in communication, right? I want to encourage you guys to be present in the moment. And that means making sure that you're taking more time to listen. That means that you are giving people eye contact when they're speaking to you. And that means that in a world where things are happening so quickly, it's easy to allow your emotions to fuel your words. And that is not going to bring your life value. The best thing that you can do is slow down and give your mind a chance to actually process what it's trying to say. Because if your thoughts are being fueled by emotions, chances are they're not going to come out the way that you want them to. And I know that we have all been in that situation where we're just trying to get something done and we end up snapping at a loved one. Because a lot of the time, our loved ones are the ones that make it easier for us to wipe our feet on. For whatever reason that is, it's that comfort, it's that safety, but it's also not right. So if we're in a position where we are so wound up, we're so busy, we're so stressed that we're snapping on the people around us, we need to take a check internally to see, is everything that you're trying to achieve right now worth more than the relationships that you have and how you're treating them? Because at the end of the day, we are doing all of these things to be able to build this life that we want, but we're missing out on that life aspect, right? We're just trying to slay the next thing on the to-do list. Maybe if we can just get one more thing done, right? Instead of chasing the joy of the journey, which is going to allow for you to be able to develop and have those relationships while still checking things off the list. I know you know that list never fucking ends. It never ends. So stop selling yourself short on moments and opportunities that really are going to matter, that in 5 or 10 years you're going to look back on and regret the way that you handled those situations, wishing you would have just given it a couple more minutes, wishing you would have given it more patience, wishing that you would have just allowed yourself to have that person feel heard. Because as they continue to be ignored, that relationship might not be as strong anymore. So is it really worth working so hard at chipping all of these things off if you're losing the quality of the relationships with the people that you care about the most and what you're really trying to build that life for, right? Now, the second thing that I want to go into We are running into an obesity crisis. It is without a doubt that packing on weight has become way too easy. And a big reason as to why that's happening is stress. There are so many people that are emotionally fueled in their eating habits. People are moving less because they're filling their schedules with more, right? People are feeling so burnt out from stress that they don't want to move their body. There is such little time that people are feeling that they have in their schedules that they would rather just go and buy their food, right? We are at a point of disconnect with our mind and body, and being able to build self-awareness on what our body actually needs and not just what our mind is telling us that we need is going to be another valuable skill set that will forever serve you no matter how large technology gets. I know that after a long, stressful day, sometimes all you want to do is go and eat the entire freaking kitchen. And if you're not eating the kitchen, that means you're ordering Skip the Dishes or you're ordering DoorDash, and you are going to listen to how hungry your mind is trying to tell you that you are, right? But a lot of the time, it's that your body is dealing with a lot more than what you are going to put the effort into realizing. So for example, maybe it's the fact that your body is actually feeling really stressed right now and it actually needs a little bit of movement, but instead you're going to fuel that with hunger. Maybe it's that you're really anxious about something and you feel like it's out of your control, so you're going to go and control the situation by eating a bunch of food. Maybe it feels like you are just so tired, and by the time that the day's done, you feel like there's this empty void that you're just trying to fill with hunger or with the food that you're eating. But it's not as much you being hungry as much as it is you needing to have better bedtime schedules and putting your ass to bed instead of putting your ass into the pantry every single night and forcing yourself to stay up another 2 hours past when you said that you were going to go to bed. Okay? Being able to slow down no matter when you're eating is going to be a huge service to you. Okay? A lot of the time, if you are about to go for seconds, it is simply due to the fact that you haven't given yourself a chance to even digest the food. The best thing that you can do is distract yourself with something else. So if you're finding that you are that person where, number one, you're either feeling like you're filling that plate with way too much food, or you're always going for seconds, or you're that indisposable garbage can that just can keep eating and eating and eating and eating, I want you to start with a set portion, okay? After you're done that set portion of food, I want you to drink some water. Then I want you to just go do whatever task, because the thing that people don't realize is that they are 100% capable of having that food later, but for whatever reason, our brain has been programmed for instant gratification, and we feel like we need to eat that food instantly when we don't, because it instantly makes us feel like shit once we finally have eaten to that point of feeling stuffed, right? It's like you just feel like you can't stop eating. There's no in between the super hungry and then all of a sudden super stuffed. And it's because your brain and your body are disconnected. You need to make sure that you give a chance to actually register what your body is doing, that you're eating that food. This sounds maybe a little hippy dippy, but dude, it could help your life so much by simply just taking this one piece of advice. That could be the difference between you and the next 20 pounds. Depending what action you're going to take there will depend on which way that 20 pounds goes, right? Whether you're dropping that 20 pounds or gaining that 20 pounds. So I really want to make sure that if you are struggling with overeating, that you start slowing down. Chew your food. Be present with it. Talk to people while you're eating. Don't zone out in front of the TV, okay? Just literally be present with the food. And if you do not have 10 minutes to be able to feed yourself and not be multitasking or doing something else, you really need to reassess your priorities. You trying to multitask, whether it's watching TV, trying to do something else, just taking bites in between working, is not going to give you the replenishment that you need. You're not going to feel that physically, but you're not going to feel that mentally either. So just give yourself the break of 10 minutes to be present with your food and eat the food without distractions. You still feel hungry after eating? Give yourself a chance to even digest. Don't just run straight to that second helping or whatever it is. And when you're ordering food out, be reasonable. I know what it's like when you're extremely fatigued, when you're feeling super stressed, when you just want to shut down and you feel like your body is telling you that it's absolutely starving, but really it's your mind trying to get a dopamine hit, right? So it's not necessarily that your body is starving. So we need to make sure that we are being reasonable in that first portion size. You can always order more. You can always go through another drive-through. There's always that next opportunity to eat whatever it is that you want. We are an abundant, rich society when it comes to food. So please slow down, give your body a chance, because like I said, it can be the difference on whether you're gaining or losing the next 20 pounds. The next thing that I want to go into is your movements, okay? Sometimes we are rushing through our workouts so quickly because we're stressed. We just want to check the boxes, just get it off the list. But I can promise you that instead of feeling like you need to slam your workouts with 7 to 8 exercises, if you took 3 to 4 movements and you gave those sets, every single rep, your all, and you slowed down, you focused on the muscles that you're actually working, you made sure that you were trying to give each rep 100% of the energy that you do have, you're going to be so much better off than trying to go through those 8 movements, get them done really fast. So being able to slow down in your movements is going to allow for you to be able to get that much more from your workouts, not feel like you need to hit the gym every single day when you're still not seeing the progress that you want, and be able to be more time effective with the time that you do have to be able to get those movements and workouts in. So I want you guys to be intentional in the way that you are speaking, in the way that you're listening, in the way that you're eating, in the way that you're moving your body. Because I know that it is too easy to get stuck in this rat race of go, 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 go. But if you are feeling really stressed, if you're feeling really anxious, you're living too much in the future. I want you to come back to the present, because at this point in time, there has never been anything that you've gone through in life that you haven't been able to get through. I want to say that again. There is nothing up until this point that you have gone through in life that you have not been able to make it through. So have trust, have reassurance that no matter what takes place from here, you're going to be able to do it. But if you're not willing to find joy in the journey right now, if you're not willing to slow down, if you're not willing to be more present, you are going to miss your life. You are going to look back in 10 to 20 years and wonder, why the fuck was I such a stress case? Those times will never be able to come back, right? Like time you can't get back. But you can make more money, okay? You can get involved in different things over time if you feel like politics are your passion or the environment is your passion or whatever current issue that we currently have going on that everybody's fueled towards, and you feel like you need to make your difference. You can do that, but you don't need to take on the stress of absolutely everything to the point where it's taking you away from your ability to be present and to slow down in the current moment. Okay? So I want to make sure that your biggest takeaways from this podcast is allowing for you to take the time to assess what your stress response is. Are you a person who just keeps going and going and going to funnel out the noise? Or are you somebody who just completely shuts down? I want you to ask yourself in your relationships, are you being present? Are you fueling your words with emotions and not allowing for you to build your relationships as intentionally as you want to because you're fueled off of those emotions? Are you listening to the people around you? Are you actually picking up what they're trying to tell you? Are you looking them in the eyes when they're speaking to you? How are you in regards to eating? Are you feeling like you're constantly using food to fill an emptiness that you have inside of you? Do you feel like you're always dealing with those extreme hunger cues until you end up overeating to the point of feeling gross and disgusting and just so disappointed that you feel like you need to restart that diet the next day? Are you feeling like you always rush your workouts, that you see all of these people on Instagram with all of this muscle? Granted, I'm going to say naturally with muscle, because there's just so many things out there now that are unfortunately AI altered, and or it is people that are on enhancements and steroids, which you guys know I have nothing against. My biggest issue is when people go and see these accounts on Instagram and TikTok and think that they can make a 3-month, 6-month transformation like that and feel like they're beating themselves up. But to go back to where I was with the movements, do you feel like you're not making that progress that you know that you should be with the amount of time that you're putting into the gym, right? Because there's doing a rep and then there's doing a damn rep, okay? There's a huge difference between the two. So being able to slow down in those movements is actually going to give you more time back. But I want you to assess these areas in your life because they are going to be the defining difference between having a life that you love or having a life that you simply went through the motions feeling so fucking stressed that you really don't understand why life was made this way, okay? Nobody's gonna do this work for you. That's the scariest part about life, is that if you don't take this action, nobody's gonna take it for you. And no matter what, you always will have one action to take, right? So you either are going to continue to overeat, push yourself to a point of uncomfortability, trying to feed that spot that really feels uncomfortable, or you're gonna allow yourself to slow down. Give yourself a chance to digest. Stop feeling like you need to eat so distracted all the time, and to stop feeling like you need to eat as much as you possibly can at once. It really is a life-changing action if you're willing to take the opposite action, right? Like I said, there is always going to be that action that you have to take. And when you are looking to make that change in your life, you need to take the opposite action of what you're currently taking. So make sure to slow down, guys, because being able to slow down and be present in the moment is truly what's going to allow for you to find the joy in the journey. So I hope you guys got a ton of value from this episode. I look forward to chatting with you guys in the next one, and I hope that you have the best freaking day.